Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Now You Know, and this is a special episode about the company Evoto.
Yes.
So we love to cover companies that are sustainable and are making a difference, and Evoto is one of those companies. So I heard about Evoto, and I first thought, well, I don't know. I don't want to tell the whole world about Evoto if I don't know them personally.
Right. And, I mean, we've heard of lots of different people renting Teslas in all sorts of different ways. There are some people who rent them off Turo. There's some people who find other companies. And we've heard some good and some bad experiences where people have run out of, miles. Like they are being charged extra by the mile because they've used all of their, range that they've been given.
A friend of ours rented from Turo, and then it turned out that you had to pay per mile after a certain number of miles, so it ended up costing him hundreds of dollars more than he thought. So, I didn't want to get into recommending somebody just because they're renting Teslas.
Right.
So we decided to go up to Montreal and check it out for ourselves.
Firsthand.
Now, what's so cool about Evoto is that they said to us, you know what, since you're coming up to Montreal, let's get you some tickets to go to Ypres. So that was huge, and I want to put that right out in front that they did give us some perks.
Yes.
And that would not influence me at all, let me tell you. If it turned out that the company was no good, I would just tell you that. But it turns out the company is awesome.
Yes.
So we met with the principals of the company. Sobi is one of the friendliest guys you're ever going to meet.
Yep.
He knows so much about Montreal, which is where you're going to go if you're going to rent the car. And he can help you with so much stuff. Like he was telling us, where to go to dinner and where is a nice part of the city to go to for this or for that.
Right. Because trust me, I had no idea where to go in Montreal because
it's French speaking.
It's very French speaking,
and we don't speak French.
And all of the places are in French, and I'm just overwhelmed.
It really does. I mean, you get to a place where the language is different so quickly, there's no preparation. Like if you're going to France, you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to read some guidebooks and I'm getting ready. But a lot of times I think when you go to Canada, you're like, I'm going to Canada.
Right.
But as soon as you get into Montreal, everything's in French. So that means if you're going west, then the sign says Wust, and it's like, what? So it can be tricky.
Yeah.
So nice to have a company that knows that you might be new to this. So one thing they do, if you land at the airport, they meet you at the airport.
Right.
I'm not kidding.
They have a car waiting for you, fully charged.
Right.
You get a fully charged Tesla right out of the gate.
Right.
You can go. You could practically, depending on where you live, you could probably drive home.
So
with a full charge.
2 minutes off your airplane, you are being met by someone who walks you over to the car. Now, if you've never driven a Tesla before, they walk you through it.
Right.
They explain for half an hour.
All the details. Whatever you need to know.
Until you're fully comfortable.
Right.
They explain how to charge it, where to go to charge it, all these things.
And let's just talk about charging for a second. Charging this vehicle while you are renting it from Evoto, completely free.
Yeah.
First of all, free supercharging. Yep. That's great. So you can use the superchargers like you would any other Tesla.
Yep.
They have every card. They have a stack of cards of every different charging network in the city and the surrounding area. They have EVgo. They have ChargePoint. They have some that I don't even recognize.
Right.
So no matter where you are going to be able to charge, and it's not on you, which is fantastic.
They also put a lot of favorites into the navigation system so that if you're going to a particular place, they'll preload it for you so that it's easy for you to find them. And they've got the chargers in there and hotels in there, so that makes it super easy.
Right.
Then, once you start driving, you don't have to worry about miles at all.
There's no charge. It's an unlimited, you can drive as much as you want, as long as while you're renting the car.
Right. We were just thoroughly blown away by the fact they've got an S, they've got an X. Now keep in mind, this is a small company. They're a startup company, and to buy Teslas is not cheap, so it's not like they have hundreds of cars. Mm-hmm. They've got a couple cars now, they're going to be getting more. They've got an S and an X, they're beautiful, they're clean, so that is fantastic. And then, on the flip side, when it's time to drop off your car, same thing, they'll come pick it up, drive you to the airport,
anywhere,
whatever.
at any time.
Right. I mean, that's...
They were telling us that they've picked it up at 4 o'clock in the morning, at completely different places.
Right.
So, that's huge.
That is huge.
Having to go, let me just walk you through a normal car rental process.
Yes.
You land at the airport, you have to get all of your bags and stuff. You have to get probably onto a shuttle.
Yes.
You have to go to the rent-a-car place.
Right.
You have to wait in line. Then you have to talk to a person who has to
who will
trying to finagle you to get
and they won't even find your reservation.
Right.
Like you said you wanted a minivan or you wanted this, and they'll be like, we don't have any of those.
Right. You're going to get in the car, you're going to have to fill out a bunch of paperwork, you're going to have to do all sorts of, making sure that the car doesn't have, dents in it, because if you drop it back off with dents in it, they're going to charge you.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. When you pick up most rental cars, I walk around it and I usually have to make them mark every single scratch, because I know that when I come back, they're going to find all those scratches. Right. So that's...
Let me just tell you though, we've met the people who run this company, and they are... awesome. So nice. They are so reasonable.
I'm with Max from Evoto, and Max, you're doing this just for the summer.
Yeah, so I'm in New University right now, and this is kind of my summer gig. I think this is a great summer gig.
Pretty cool summer gig. So you get to shuttle Teslas around town.
Yeah. There's a lot more to my job than just that, but that is one of the parts. Here at Evoto, we are a startup company, right? So there's a lot to do. We don't have too many employees, so it's kind of like. We're not every man for himself, but one person does a lot of this, a lot of the work. So
which is great to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah, the experience is phenomenal. I'm so fortunate to have this position. Electric car, come on, yeah, supercharging network. It's just so much easy. I could bore you guys with the advantages of Tesla, but just look through these guys' videos, and you'll find all the advantages of Tesla.
So a lot of your customers rent it for a one night, like a prom, whatever. But and then a lot of them also rent it because they want to check out the car, but they don't want to, just do a 20-minute test drive. They want to actually experience it.
Exactly, and that's a great point. We do have another market that is, before dropping 120,000, 150,000, whatever, they could rent the car for a weekend, for whatever, for a couple $1,000s to make sure, because the last thing you want is buyer's remorse. And now my opinion is a little biased, but I don't think you'll have buyer's remorse when you're buying a Tesla. But it's just a cushion, a sense of security that, okay, we're ready to make the big jump from a BMW, from whatever, to a Tesla, and we're ready now. Thank you, Evoto, you made this possible. So.
And also, if you're a Tesla driver and you're coming to Montreal and you don't want to lose that experience, go to Evoto, because then you've got your Tesla experience in an awesome city.
Exactly, and that is another kind of clientele that we have. Is we had a man from Russia come in, and he said he only rents Teslas. He was in Miami the week prior to. They reached out to us, and he said, "Can I rent a Model X?" And we said, "Of course." So there are also folks that, like you guys, right? You guys from the States, and of course you don't want to drive gas cars. So we hooked you up with the Tesla, and hope you guys liked it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
They really truly want you to have a good experience.
You know why they started this company? It wasn't to rent cars. It was to make a difference. They wanted to rent Teslas.
Right. They don't rent any other kind of car.
No. They understand it. They get it.
Right.
And so that's, how often is a company based on a sustainable message like that? They totally love Elon Musk, and they love what he's doing.
It doesn't matter whether you're a Tesla owner and you want to go to Montreal and you don't want to have to rent a smelly car, or if you have never driven a Tesla before and you want to experience it for the first time, or if you want to do both of those things, or if you want to have it for a wedding or a prom or any kind of different event, they will make sure that it is, special for you.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Teslas are super killer cars.
Yep.
So it's just wow.
Yeah, so we highly recommend them, and so if you're going up to Montreal, we urge you to check them out, Evoto, and see what you think. It's a wonderful experience. It made our trip really special.
We want to offer you something special.
Oh yeah, that's right.
If you are renting with them, and you mention that Zach and Jesse sent you, if you are renting for 2 days or more, you're going to get 1 day for free.
Wow.
And if you're renting for 5 days or more, you're going to get 2 days free.
Wow, so it's like renting Monday through Friday and getting the weekend free.
Right. So, if you're going up to, whether you're visiting your college student in McGill, or if you just want a romantic getaway weekend somewhere close by, but yet somewhere sort of foreign, give them a call. Everyone at the company is super, super nice.
Yeah, if you have questions about where should I stay, what should I do, Sobe knows it all.
Right. They know the city like the back of their hand, and they're totally willing to help you in any way that they can.
Yeah, try and get that from Avis or Hertz or one of those companies.
It's just night and day difference. Yeah. It's going to make your experience so much better.
It almost felt to me like I had my own personal tour guide, who wanted me to have a good time.
Right.
And you know what? We did our research. As part of this, we interviewed customers that had taken Evoto, and we we heard glowing reviews from them.
Right.
And we interviewed, here's one that we interviewed. All right, so I'm here with Jean-Philippe, and did I pronounce that right?
That's right.
Close enough for American. You let me off the hook. He is an Evoto customer. So you have, basically, before you ever got in a Tesla, what did you drive?
I drove a Subaru Outback and a whole bunch of other gas cars, but this was my first experience.
Okay. So then, what made you want to drive a Tesla?
Because I became an electric car fan.
Okay.
And how I became the fan is I was working in the oil field, machining in the oil field, and I was worried about my job because of electric cars.
Excellent.
That they could reduce oil demand. So I started reading about electric cars, and at first it was out of concern, for the impact they would have on my job. But then the more I read about them, the more I realized, hey, these things are really cool and really superior. So naturally, when I wanted to come back to Montreal, which is where I'm from originally, I thought, hey, why don't I see if I can rent a Tesla? Because I know Montreal is kind of a hub for electric cars. And so I came across Evoto, and I said, this is fantastic. It's exactly what I'm looking for.
So when you rented it, you had it for 4 days.
That's right. Yeah.
And so over that time, what happened? Did you fall in love with it? What was?
Well, of course, I fell in love with it.
You did. Okay.
Very hard not to.
What happened when you had to go back to your old ice cream?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if anybody tries this, I think they'll probably experience the same thing. Was when you start the engine, there's a whole lot of rattling and shaking. Which seems really normal if you're not exposed to something better, and then your reaction is, wow, this is a time warp, 1920s Ford Model T.
Wow.
And, because you get accustomed to, the efficiency, the lack of drama, the silence, and so there's serenity.
How was the experience? Like, how was the picking it up and dropping it off and all that? Like,
I was, the car was delivered at the airport along with the owner of the company, and he was just brilliant. And like I said, I've never driven a Tesla before, and so he gave me a very, very thorough briefing.
Oh, cool! So they explain how it works.
Oh yeah.
So it was, a great experience then.
Oh, it was an absolutely phenomenal.
Phenomenal. So you definitely recommend it to like friends who are coming into Montreal to like.
Oh, absolutely.
Try that.
Yeah, absolutely, and just so they can get that, particularly if they haven't driven an electric car. I mean, I know they're starting to spread now, but and it's not just any electric car. It's pretty much the electric car, the electric sedan anyway.
Right.
And so yeah, absolutely, and the service from Evoto was fantastic, and I actually got 4 days for the price of 3.
Nice.
And with a promise of further discounts in the future. So absolutely no complaints.
That's great. Well, it's so nice meeting you.
Well, thank you very much.
It's great.
It made his completely made his
Yeah,
weekend.
he might have made his life.
Right.
I
mean, that's amazing stuff, and you really only get that from a company that A, gets it, and B, cares.
And I do want to talk about Montreal. Whether you use Evoto or not, I highly recommend going to Montreal because it's a beautiful city. It seems to be a very safe city for its size.
Yeah.
And we never once felt like it was a dangerous place to be or whatever.
And I mean, it's a big city, but it doesn't have that sort of New York skyscraper kind of feel.
It has more of a European feel.
Yeah, it felt very.
It felt like Paris.
Parisian, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it felt like, and the weird thing is, we're from Boston. You can take a 45-minute flight and be in Montreal, and it's like being in Europe.
Right.
And that's kind of amazing if you think about it.
Right.
That we have a European-style city so close to home, right north of us in America, if you're in the U.S. So yeah, wherever you are in the world, Montreal's a great destination.
Yeah. So go check out the link to Evoto down below. Get in contact with them if you're on the fence.
Yeah, ask them questions.
Give them a call. Yeah, ask all the questions you want. They're super friendly. They're going to get back to you and talk to you, and sort of they'll work with you to make whatever works work.
Right. And I mean, the reason why Jesse and I are doing this is we want to find these companies that are trying to be different and are trying to be sustainable, and this is one of them.
So thank you so much for watching. Now you know.